Hello, everyone. This is Feynman Zhou from Beijing. We're glad to be joining this open source summit hosted by the Linux Foundation. Today, we're going to tell you about the topic under the hood with Fluent Bit Operator, which is a Kubernetes-native log processor. Yeah, my name is Feynman Zhou, and I am CNCF ambassador and KubeSphere community manager. And I'm also one of the contributor and a member of Fluent community.
Hi, I'm Dhruv. I'm a software engineer with the marketplace team at DigitalOcean. I'm also a member of the Fluent team and a contributor to the Fluent Bit Operator.
Okay, thanks, Drew. In this session, we're gonna walk you through the challenges of logging in Kubernetes. And next, we're gonna introduce what is FluentBit and the challenges with FluentBit. And next, we're gonna tell you why we create the Fluent-Bit operator, and we're gonna introduce more about its architecture and workflow. And as a final, we're gonna introduce more about their use cases. The Fluent-Bit operator in DigitalOcean API platform and KubeSphere logging system. I think you guys may know the Game of Thrones. This is the screenshot from the Game of Thrones. And the White Walkers tell us that we have a lot of challenges of logging in Kubernetes. We have multiple and different data sources. We have different data formats. And the White Walkers King said that we need lightweight, security, and resilience. And we also get the challenges of we have multiple outputs and destinations. Okay, let's see what the details about the challenges. We have different logs from multiple places. We have bare metals or VMs, or we have the embedded devices and edge devices, especially in the distributed environments, the Kubernetes environment. We have containers or pods, or even in the networking environment, we have the TCP or UDP logs. We are also facing the different data formats, the JSON, Apache, Nginx logs, Docker, and CRI. In some typical scenarios, we want to shift the logs from point A to point B, so we might get the challenges of the different outputs and destinations. So typically, we have multiple output plugins in Fluent Bit operator. The Elasticsearch, Logi, Splunk, MongoDB, and S3. Yeah, our clients also told that we need to collect and process the logs in a high performant and efficient way. In the multi-tenancy environment, we still need to handle the data security and the reliability. So those challenges are difficult to deal. You guys may know how to debug your workloads or containers in Kubernetes. Yeah, you can try to get the Kubernetes logs from this command. Yeah, kubectl logs, pod, and containers. Yeah, this is a native method that we use to retrieve the logs in the Kubernetes ecosystem. So, the cloud providers also provide a lot of logging solutions. Maybe you are using the stack drivers or the CloudWatch provided by AWS. Yeah. The ISVs also provide a lot of logging solutions, this Splunk, StormLogic, Datalog, and so on. Yeah, we still have some open source choices, the EFK stack or Loki. Yeah, there are a bunch of choices you can choose if you want to debug and retrieve the logs from your Kubernetes ecosystem. Yeah, I also list a table of their solutions and give their pros and cons. Okay, for the stack driver and CloudWatch, maybe they are easy to use and low maintenance efforts, but they have, the vendor locking, or it has high costs for their solutions. As for the SV solutions, the Splunk, SumoLogic, or Datadog, sorry, they are also easy to use, and you will still facing the same challenges when you use them for your environment. Okay, the EFK is the standard, we say, the de facto logging solutions in some of the enterprises. They are most popular logging solutions, and they are very mature, but they requires the higher resource consumption in some scenarios. So if you want to retrieve the logs in the edge devices or the embedded, or even the the K3s clusters, EFK maybe is a little bit the high resource usage. Okay, the logging is a promising logging solution in the cloud native ecosystem, but it has changed its license a couple of months ago. In this session, we're gonna deep dive into the Fluent Bit and Fluent Bit Operator. So Fluent Bit is a lightweight and high performance log processor. So you can use Fluent Bit to process, forward, and distribute logs to different places. So I think Fluent Bit is a Swiss knife for logging processing. This project was founded in 2015, created by Treasure Data. Now it is a CNCF sub-project under the umbrella of Fluent Bit ecosystem. Due to this project written in C language, so it is very lightweight and zero dependencies. It has around 70 plugins available. So the input, filter, the output, and the router plugins in its ecosystem. So you can also write your own plugins in the Fluent Bit ecosystem. So Fluent Bit has only 640 KBs. So this is very low CPU and memory usage. This is the general workflow for the Fluent Bit in Kubernetes ecosystem. So you can use Fluent Bit to ship the logs from Kubernetes pods to the destinations, the Kafka, Elasticsearch, and MongoDB. Yeah. This is the general logging pipeline with Fluent Bit and their plugins ecosystem. Generally speaking, we have the workflow from input to the routing, and they will route the logs from filter plugins to the different outputs. So this is the popular plugins in the Fluent Bit ecosystem. So as for the input plugin, which is used to gather information from different data sources. For the parser plugin, which is used to convert the unstructured data to structured data. Yeah, as for the filter plugin, which is used to match, exclude, and enrich logs with some specific metadata. So it has the grep, Lua, Modify, and Kubernetes filter plugins. So you can leverage them to filter out and enrich your logs in this logging pipeline. Okay, if you want to ship your logs from different sources to the different destinations, so we can use output plugins, the file, forward, Kafka, Logi, and Elasticsearch. Yeah, it still have more plugins in the output, so you can choose or you can custom your own plugins if you want. Yeah, you will find Fluent Bit is not a silver bullet if you have been using Fluent Bit for a long time, since you may facing the challenges of Fluent Bit. They have some typical issues, which is described there, the restart mechanism. FluentBit has not been support the dynamic restart gracefully. So if you want to modify the configuration about FluentBit, you have to add their demo set, and you need to reload and restart the FluentBit itself. So this is not convenient for folks if you want to modify your logging workflow. So you have find that there are some typical issues in the FluentBit repository. Yeah, and you will find the time was, the 3 years ago. So this is why we create the Fluent Bit Operator, which is used to facilitate the management of FluentBit. The core functionalities of Fluent Bit Operator brings to the FluentBit ecosystem. We can say, the FluentBit lifecycle management. It will help you to deploy and destroy FluentBit automatically. And it also provides the custom configuration. You can select different plugins, the input, filter, and output plugins, while the labels in Kubernetes. The most typical feature that provided by the Fluent Bit Operator, it helps you to handle with the dynamic reloading. So you can update the FluentBit configuration without rebooting the FluentBit pods itself. So we can say FluentBit Operator helps us to facilitate the deployment of FluentBit, and it provides great flexibility in building a logging layer. So in DigitalOcean and KubeSphere team, we use the FluentBit Operator to deploy and manage our logging system and to retrieve the logs from different resources. I think Drew will help you guys to deep dive into the operator pattern and the FluentBit operators architecture and their design.
Thanks. So before we actually dive deeper into the Fluent Bit Operator workflow and architecture, I wanted to take 2 minutes to address what is an operator. What is a Kubernetes operator? A Kubernetes operator is a method of packaging, deploying, and managing a Kubernetes application. It essentially can be broken down into 2 parts: CRDs and the controller. CRDs stand for custom resource definitions. Custom resource definitions are a way to extend the Kubernetes API with your own set of APIs. So, for example, by default, the Kubernetes API can be works against pods, deployments, services, etc. But through CRDs, you can extend it towards your own application. The second part is the controller. The controller takes care of 3 things. And the first part it does is watches for changes in application state. So if there's an application state which you're interested in, it keeps watching it and keeps tabs on it, essentially. It then looks for differences between the desired state and what the actual state of the application is. And if there is a difference, it acts upon it and makes sure it reconciles, and the actual state is equivalent to the desired state. So yeah, the next question is like, why do we need an operator? Why can't Kubernetes handle this by itself? So Kubernetes could actually handle and manage applications by itself if they were stateless. Stateless applications such as web apps, mobile backends, API services, any application which doesn't require any additional knowledge about how you should be running these applications. But when it comes to stateful applications, for example, a MySQL instance or monitoring systems, databases, it requires additional domain-specific knowledge that Kubernetes doesn't have, because every, let's say, instance of MySQL has its own identity. It needs the knowledge in order to scale, upgrade, and reconfigure these applications. Kubernetes operators essentially encode the specific domain knowledge into Kubernetes extensions so that it can manage and automate an application's lifecycle. KubeBuilder is a set of tooling and opinions which helps you scaffold your operator and helps you translate your Go code into your CRD file. Controller runtime is a part of the controller aspect of the KubeBuilder, which helps you build anything to do with the controller, for example, watching and reconciling. So Fluent Bit Operator defines 6 CRDs. The first one is the Fluent Bit, DaemonSet, and config. This FluentBitConfig CRD essentially just selects the input filter output plugin and generates the final config into a secret. And the input parser filter output CRDs defines the respective config sections. So each input filter output represents a config section which is selected by the FluentBitConfig via label selectors. The operator then watches these objects and constructs the final config and stores it as a secret. The secret is then mounted on to the FluentBit DaemonSet. To enable FluentBit to pick up these updated secrets and making sure that those changes are reflected in FluentBit, we've created a wrapper called the Fluent Bit Watcher, which essentially looks for changes. And if there are any changes, it restarts FluentBit. We use Fluent Bit Operator at DigitalOcean and for the DigitalOcean app platform. DigitalOcean app platform is a fully managed platform as a service that lets customers build, deploy, manage, and scale all kinds of different apps. The Fluent Bit Operator in the app platform is used to solve the problem of logging and displaying logs to the end user. One of the main challenges when the context is a PaaS is aggregating and forwarding logs reliably in a dynamic environment with hundreds of nodes, thousands of workloads. It is absolutely essential to make sure that all of these things are happening, all the logs are being delivered in real time and reliably to our end users. So how do we use Fluent Bit Operator in the DigitalOcean app platform? So we have our customer workloads running on Docs, which is the managed Kubernetes service by DigitalOcean. And they are continuously generating logs. So we use the Fluent Bit Operator to make sure that FluentBit is capturing the latest logs as soon as there are any changes that happen. We make use of the Go client, which the operator provides, to filter out and parse the logs, which are essential and are in a structured manner so that we can actually return it back to our end users.
Yeah, thanks for Drew's introduction to the use case of Fluent Bit Operator in DigitalOcean app platform. Yeah, actually, we see DigitalOcean team has made a lot of great contributions to Fluent Bit Operator. You know, they have added some great features and enhancement at Fluent Bit Operator, and also they brings more plugins into the plugin system of Fluent Bit Operator. Yeah. So for the next, I would like to introduce how we build KubeSphere logging system with Fluent Bit Operator. Yeah, this is the built-in logging system in KubeSphere. KubeSphere is an open source container platform built on Kubernetes. If we say Kubernetes is the Linux kernel, So KubeSphere is similar to the Ubuntu, a user desktop for the operating system, but KubeSphere is designed for the distributed operating system, the data center. So we can use KubeSphere to deploy and manage your cloud-native applications and to build the cloud-native observability on Kubernetes. So KubeSphere logging system integrate Fluent Bit Operator to deploy and manage the lifecycle of Fluent Bit. So as you can see, the general architecture of Fluent Bit, the logging system in KubeSphere. So we have the Fluent Bit Operator, which is used to set up the Fluent Bit demo set on each Kubernetes node. So you can also leverage the output plugins to send the data and metrics to different destinations, the Kafka, Elasticsearch, or even FluentD. Okay, so we run the Fluent Bit on each node instead of FluentD. We provide a centralized log query, which is used to search and to retrieve the users and the infrastructure's logs in a unified platform. We build this the Kubernetes-native way. You can search the logs by namespaces, workloads, and pods. So if you want to leverage this platform in a multi-tenant environment, so imagine you have different tenants in this platform. So you will require the users can only view their logs under their own users namespace or workspace. So, and next, let's jump into the demo of KubeSphere logging system. All right, as we mentioned before, KubeSphere logging system integrates the Fluent Bit Operator as the underlying logging solution. So we are going to showcase a live demo to deploy the Fluent Bit Operator into Kubernetes, use KubeSphere console. Okay, let's jump into the live demo. So as we can see that we have a sample YAML, which is used to deploy the Fluent Bit with DUMI as input and the standout as output. So if we successfully set up this demo, you will observe the message from the Fluent Bit port. Yeah, you will get the logs like these lines. Okay, we can have a quick look at this quick start YAML. So we have defined the tag with the DUMI in the input and output section. So we just need to copy it and paste it to our webkubectl. Yeah, as we have already created this YAML file locally, so we just need to apply it. Okay, it may take a couple of seconds to create these resources. So I will cut the waiting time until the resources being created. This is very strange that it takes around more than 10 seconds to create those resources. Since we have already set up the Fluent Bit and Fluent Bit Operator in my environment, yeah, we can get logging system. Okay, for now we have successfully created the demo manifests in Kubernetes. So we can retrieve the logs from the Fluent Bit pod. So we can use the centralized logging console to retrieve the logs from the Fluent Bit pod. So as we can see that we can type the project name, yeah, logging system. Yeah, for now, we have seen the output from this Fluent Bit pod. Yeah, let's drill into it and to find the standout container logs from this panel. So for now, we have seen the same result with this quick start. Yeah, that means the Fluent Bit operator works properly. And we have seen the do me logs was output. So if we want to get more metrics and events from this container, we can drill into its detail page to see what happens into this container. Yeah. Okay, this is all for my demo. So
we've added some more resources for you to check out if you want to dive deep into the world of operators. And I hope you find them useful. Thank you.
Okay, thanks everyone. If you want to learn more and ask anything about Fluent Bit and Fluent Bit operator, find us on Twitter. So we have personal Twitter accounts. So feel free to ask us anything. Okay, thanks for your time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.